Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. And above all else, that you are looking after yourselves and one another. And unlike myself, got a good night's sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back with Mr. Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
I'm doing well, Armando. A little sleep deprived myself, maybe as much as you are, but I'm gonna power through.
Well, we're going to do our best. Ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen,
yes, we
this is
will.
what you look like when you get woken up by a pocket dialer at 4:15 in the morning and can't get back to sleep.
I
So,
have no excuse like that. I'm
there you
just
go.
weird.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reconvened today to bring to you album anniversaries for the month of March. This is part one of a three-part episode. We are looking at albums in part one, celebrating their 60th and 50th anniversaries, respectively. We've got four albums to talk about, and this is quite the list.
It
This is
is, it
quite
is.
quite the list. The first album on our list for part one, celebrating their 60th anniversary, we have the debut album from the band Love, psychedelic band from San Francisco, LA area, releasing their self-titled debut on the 11th of March, 1968. Recorded it from January 24th to 27th of 1966. Released to Elektra Records with a playing time of 33 minutes and 3 seconds. Produced
Lengthy.
by, really lengthy, yeah. Uh, Produced by Mark Abramson and Jack Holtzman, founder of Elektra Records. Oh boy, interesting album. I've heard of this band before, fronted by Arthur Lee. I'm sorry for the rough start, ladies and gentlemen. But before I give my opinion, Jim,
Right on. Okay, let's talk about love.
yes,
So
Celine
this
Dion, go ahead,
All
quick.
right, so these are the days when record execs would go hear a band in a club, sell them, get them signed to a contract, get them in a studio, and put something on retail shelves within like 4 months, which
Yeah,
I believe is exactly what happened with this band and this
yeah.
album. They were quickly seen as a hot commodity and quickly recorded, and stuff was shifted to market. You gotta love that, just high energy rock and roll. Let's just get this sucker out there. Um, Now, having said all that, I don't think that this album suffers from any kind of rush to market. Um, from my understanding, is that this album is a pretty darn close artifact to what their live work was at the time.
Mm.
So you're hearing the band sort of as they were. And frankly, as they were, it was pretty darn good. I mean, overall, I'm gonna give this album a B plus. Um, there's a few songs on here that are just heads and shoulders above the others. The most obvious one being My Little Red Book, which is the lead-off track from the album.
From
And
Bacharach and Hal David, yeah. Mm.
and that's the reason it's so freaking good, is that it's so hooky and such this little melodic gem that, believe it or not, Arthur Lee and the guys kind of improved upon it by just speeding up the tempo, giving it a little attitude, but you just can't deny that chorus, with the "there's just no getting over you." I mean, I need to kind of go back and hear what the original is, but what my understanding is what they applied to it really sort of upped the game and took what was already a good Backrack David song and just made it this absolutely outstanding, excellent performance. Um, Having said all that, the rest of the album does not meet that standard, but it's still good. I mean, like I said, I'm giving it a B plus. I'm leading with the positives here. Um, Can't Explain. The next song is pretty good. It's another A track to me. This is not the Who's Can't Explain, um, but
No,
it's their own thing. And the rest of the album is just kind of this mashup of you know folk rock stuff that was happening sort of vis-a-vis the Byrds with an R&B and garage rock attitude. And the three of these things make this really sort of fun amalgam. I mean, I wish there was a little more variety on this album, but given that it's a representative, artifact to who they were at the time, what their live sets were, and given that, this is just sort of an artifact of the, mid 60s, it all works together. It was a really fun listen. I most of these songs to me get like a B plus average, which is why I've sort of graded the album that way. Um, Heck of a good listen. I'm a fan. I mean, and Love is most well known for Alone Again or, which just takes things into this realm of, you know, Spanish tinged chamber pop that, people are still trying to replicate to this day. I don't think this debut um, touches, sort of where they got to with those heights, but it's still hell of a good record.
Okay. My view on this album is not as high as yours. It 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 was a slog to listen to it. It
Ah,
it was hard for me. I do like the instrumental track Emotions, track seven. My Little Red Book is good to start off the album, but the rest for me, it's honestly it's filler. It's
okay.
filler. There is a story that Arthur Lee was saying that they weren't happy with their deal with Elektra and they wanted off the label and they basically gave them the Doors. You know, here we're going to give you Jim Morrison and the Doors, and can we go, please? Can we leave? Kind of thing, and because they wanted to sign with MCA, and yeah, there there was a bit of a buzz around the band. Why aren't they the next big thing? But I listening to this album, I know why. It's just
Hmm.
it's not for me. It's Arthur Lee's vocals that are kind of rough for me. But it's a good to average slice of psychedelic pop that was going on in around this time in 66, 67, 68.
Yeah.
But yep, that's my take on it.
I'm glad
Very
you called out the instrumental emotions because the note I have next to that is that um, if anything sounds like it should be out and proud as part of the Quentin Tarantino movie, it is that
yeah,
instrumental. It's got that just, you know what it is. It's
dripping.
dripping with the Tarantino vibes, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it is. It is. It's a good instrumental. You know, most of these songs range in a minute and change to 3 minutes maximum. Very short, 14 tracks in total.
Hmm.
A very quick listen. Um, it's a it's a trip to the bathroom with your favorite newspaper, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And
And that can be
with
a very fulfilling, activity, frankly.
of course, I mean, hell, like, who am I to say no? But yeah, it's not one I would go back to at all. And
Nice to know that everything works. There we go.
oh, there we go. There you go. Okay, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Our next group we're going to be talking about is the Monks with their release Black Monk, Black Monk Time. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, ladies and gentlemen. Released in March of 66, recorded in November 65, released to Polydor International. Very short album, 29 minutes and 49 seconds. Produced by Jimmy Bolin, listed as garage rock. Okay. Jim,
Well, the
you.
monks, what can we say? First of all, for folks looking to hear Black Monk Time, you are likely not going to find it on your favorite streaming service officially. The ones that I know that I listened to was someone cobbling together either a previously available digital version and putting it in a YouTube playlist, or it's a vinyl rip. I don't recall which it was specifically. But um, the Monks were a German-based band who, somehow found their way into American garage rock. And, there's a lot of people out there who would say that the Monks, um, much like Velvet Underground, would be the grandfathers of the punk movement. Just like people say that Neil Young is the grandfather of the grunge movement. Things have to start somewhere. And I think you can make a pretty compelling argument that the this album from the Monks really sort of helps to lay that foundation for what punk will eventually become. Um, in terms of execution and in terms of, attitude. Obviously, these guys aren't all, you know, anarchy, but just from an attitude standpoint and how they approach their instruments. I mean, yes, they're better than the Shags. It's, a much more pleasant listen than the Shags, but these guys are not, they're not the members of Yes. These guys are not, they don't have major chops.
Virtuosity to them would be a foreign language. I'm sorry.
I think so. Much
Yes.
like much like English was a foreign language to these guys. Um,
Or a foreign concept, I should say.
yeah,
Okay.
there we
Yeah.
go. Now, having said all that, to me, much like the Love record, it's a lot of fun. In fact, I'm going to give this like an A minus B plus. I think it straddles the fence more on the A side, um, more often than it does for the Love record. Now, there's no
Mhm.
songs on here as absolutely killer and strong as My Little Red Book, but um, for what they are, it's a lot of fun. The songs, Shut Up, Boys Are Boys and Girls Are Choice, I Hate You, Oh, How to Do Now, We Do a V the the German pronunciation. That's My Girl. I mean, to me, these are all A songs. Some of them are A minus, but it's a lot of fun to listen to this record. But again, if you're in the mood for Bach, you don't listen to the Monks. If you're in the mood for, Yes, or some really high quality prog type stuff, um, the Monks should not be your choice. But if you want, someone who just strapping on their instruments and going for it, with all attitude and no chops,
This is for you.
sometimes this is exactly the right thing. And I love this record just from that aspect to what's the line from, the movie Ratatouille? Anyone can cook. Well, this would show that anyone can be a musician. And so I find that hopeful and encouraging.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Um,
And now for an alternate viewpoint, Mr. Venditti.
Jim, you ignorant slut. No, it's yeah. No, I can't.
No, okay,
I listened to this and it was like, oh boy. Um, yeah. I mean, short songs, short and to the point. I don't know what that point was, but it was short and to the point.
there you
A
go.
minute and 23 seconds to like 2 minutes and 43 seconds in terms of song length. Nothing on this album was endearing to me. Yeah, I it's a hard pass. And I don't mean passing gas. I mean just a hard pass. It's not a record I would ever go back to at all. It's
Okay.
not for me. All
That's
right.
fair. There are only so many hours in the day, and when there's a yes set that's staring right in front of you, you just gotta throw a lot of hours to that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on
So much
to
for the 60s.
so much for the albums that bring their 60th anniversary. We're moving on to albums that bring their 50th anniversaries. We are looking at the anniversary for the Doobie Brothers, Taking It to the Streets, released March 19th, 1976, recorded in 1975, released on Warner Brothers Records, produced by Ted Templeman, staff producer, for Warner Brothers, who would go on to work with Bette Midler, most notably Van Halen, you name it,
Little Feat,
basically. Little Feat.
Waiting for
Oh,
Columbus, I believe, is a Ted Templeman record.
yeah. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Total playing time, massive. 38 minutes and 23 seconds. Jim.
Wow. It,
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
it's like an opera compared to Black Monk time.
well, as I always say, at that length of time, perfect for LP, too short for CD.
Exactly. Exactly. Taking it to the streets, man, tell you what. So we should probably throw a little bit of context in there that this was the
Please do.
first Doobie Brothers album that had Michael McDonald um, as part of the lineup. He was part of an earlier tour that the Doobie Brothers did. And I guess Tom Johnston and the guys liked him so much. It's like, well, hey, why don't you come and, be part of the next album and be part of the band full time as opposed to just, part of the road band. And I have no idea if they regret that decision, but I don't think they would have expected that Michael McDonald would become who he became, and basically take over the sound.
Can I interject something really quickly? There was a documentary that came out in the 80s about the Doobie Brothers, and when they talked to Tom Johnston, he said that when he rejoined the band at one point, he wanted the focus to be back on the band as a collective and not solely on Michael McDonald. He thought that the shift was too much
Hmm.
towards Michael McDonald, and he wanted a more of an equal playing field for the
Hmm.
band. And it was Jeff Skunk Baxter who actually recommended Michael McDonald as a touring member. And then,
Yep.
Jeff Skunk Baxter, ex of Steely Dan. We don't mention that
Well,
name nearly enough on this channel.
no, we
You know,
don't.
no, we
Well, and
don't.
that's where, Skunk and, Michael McDonald rubbed elbows was from the 1974 Steely
Uh,
Dan tour, the
yeah,
Pretzel
yeah,
Logic tour. So.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, sorry, you were saying,
Well,
continue.
no, that's all incredibly relevant, and that's, the perfect time to sort of insert that, buddy. Um, yeah, I mean, Tom Johnston had to step back just due to health issues. He didn't want to leave the band, but he was
Yeah,
just physically, incapable of doing what he had been.
yeah, yeah,
Um, Now, so let's talk about, this record. There's no denying that the two huge Michael McDonald songs, Taking It to the Streets and It Keeps You Running, are just A+ tunes. I mean, you just can't get around it. They're just perfect.
yeah.
Losing End, eh, like a B- for me, but those other two, they do carry the album, for me. And, just like the tunes on Minute by Minute written by Michael McDonald would sort of carry that record. I mean, there's a reason he became the face and the voice for the Doobie Brothers.
Mhm.
He's got one of the most distinctive voices ever in
Yeah,
rock music, and so if he's got the right material, it is totally going to shine. Um, and especially if it's well produced and arranged, you can't help but just get drawn in. And we can talk about all his Steely Dan, references and how amazing they make those songs.
yeah.
But yeah, the rest of the album to me, it's kind of scattered with, B+ songs. The song Rio, I think, is a real snoozer. I'm gonna give that one like a C. But, to me,
Okay.
Taking It to the Streets is a good album. I'm gonna give it a B, but it totally stands on the shoulders of those two Michael McDonald tunes
Yeah, yeah,
that hit on side A and side B.
yeah,
The other thing I'll notice is that apparently um, Michael needs to work on his creativity because the three songs on here that he wrote all are like, taken or losing or running. Clearly, the man has an issue with the letter G because
yeah,
he's just, omits them from the
yeah,
titles.
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah. I agree with everything you said. Basically copy and paste. Uh, it keeps you running, um, nice guitar on the downbeat that comes in, that
Hmm.
boom chicka boom, I kind of feel that, that comes in. It's good. It's good. I haven't heard that in a while. And of course, taking it to the streets, the track is a classic in itself, right? So, I mean, nice bass work on the whole album. Great sax on certain tracks, like Wheels of Fortune, nice
Hmm.
sax on that. But yeah, it's a bit scattered for me.
Hmm.
We've mentioned on the channel, bands that, it would be enough just to have a greatest hits collection from.
Best of the
Um,
doobies, man.
yeah, and there you go. I think this is one of them. From what I'm hearing on this album, yeah, it would be just enough for, you know, just to have a greatest hits. Although I do like Patrick Simmons' vocals
Hmm.
on the album. I do like his work as well. But yeah, it's okay. Um, I don't know what I would give it in terms of a rating, but I got to go back and listen to it again. Maybe I'll get into it again. I do
Hmm.
hear a lot of, well, not a lot of, but a good amount of R&B influence
Hmm.
coming through. Even though this is just Michael McDonald's first album with the band, it, to me, it's already kind of seeping in
Sure.
the influence, you
Hmm.
know, because he's no slouch, and he wasn't going to take a back seat, even though he's done background vocals and etc., helped maybe with arrangements on certain songs for groups. He wasn't going to take a back seat to anybody,
Right.
even though it was his first release with the band. So, but yeah,
He
mm,
showed up and did the job very, very well.
oh yeah, oh yeah, and I when I was watching that documentary on the Doobie Brothers, I kind of got the feeling that there was a bit of resentment in terms of Michael McDonald maybe taking over the band and, oh, I've got this idea, we can do this. Well, anyone have anything better? No, okay, well then we'll go with this kind of thing.
Hmm.
And Tom Johnson said, like I wanted more balance in the band. I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't.
Hmm.
It became. He didn't say this, but he made the inference that it became the Michael McDonald show.
Sure. Yeah, the whole vibe of the band shifted towards that, blue-eyed soul,
Yeah,
which, what are you gonna have Michael McDonald do? Sing punk? I
yeah.
mean, he's
Oh,
got that
progressive rock.
voice.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, he's not gonna go do Alice Cooper. I mean, he's that voice that he has is perfectly built
yeah,
for that smooth, and I don't mean this as a pejorative, kind of the smooth, soulful,
yeah,
big, thick jazz chords type of stuff that he excels in. I mean, it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Hey guys, I can see we're back. All right, miracle of miracles. I can bloody see again. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. We are finishing off our part one of album celebrating the 60th and 50th anniversaries with a very popular release that came out in 76. We are going to be taking a look at Paul McCartney and Wings at the Speed of Sound, uh, released on March 20th, 1976 to Capitol Records, recorded in two spurts, recorded from August to October 1975. At least I can see it, ladies and gentlemen, and January to February 1976, produced by Paul McCartney with a, massive playing time, massive, of 46 minutes and 36 seconds. Again, too short for CD, perfect for LP. Uh, Before I give my opinion, Jim, you.
That may just be my view of this record.
Okay.
I first of all, it's McCartney. I mean,
Yes.
it's McCartney and Wings, but it's McCartney. Um, let's use the song Wino Junko as a sort of object lesson for this album. Buried way deep at the end of side one, there are elements of absolute sweet melodic and harmonic perfection in this tune. However, it is peppered, not Sargent, but peppered with some of the most ghastly choices of melody or arrangement that it just completely undoes the beauty that's in here. And to
Okay.
me, that's a lot of what this album is like. I mean, silly love songs. What the hell is with the factory introduction at the beginning of that song? I mean, it just is he being cheeky, clever? Is he, I don't know what the hell Paul was thinking, but if it wasn't for that factory noise thing, the song would just be perfect. But no, he's got to put this on here and undo the beauty that's there. I mean, Let Him In is just annoying from the get-go, so I don't know if anything is going to save that one. Um, but again, this whole album is just rife with these little elements that are just so great, but then it's just undercut by him being clever. I mean, God, if any album needed George Martin, it's this one, so he could take McCartney's wildest instincts and just say, Paul, no, think about this a little bit. You know, save being cute for some other time. Let these songs, breathe and excel. Now, having said that, Warm and Beautiful, which concludes the album, I think is like the strongest thing on here. And it's a damn shame I gotta wait till the very end of the record to get to something that was just like wholly satisfying. Um,
Ooh, okay.
I mean,
All
the
right.
the the note you never wrote, I mean, that's a B plus tune. That's okay. Um, Silly love songs just with because it's got that factory thing at the beginning of it, it only gets to a B plus to me. Um, Warm and Beautiful, A minus, but the rest of it is just, and just don't even get me started on Cook of the House. I don't know what the heck that thing was, but that just, if anything, was a candidate for the cutting room floor. And to keep an album at like 43 minutes, Cook of the House should have been excised. Again,
Yeah.
a lot of, I mean, I know like when I write, I could use a good editor, mostly because I transpose letters. I'll have a thought that I think I've expressed when I wrote it down, but turns out I didn't. I leave out, big chunks of words or whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, needing an editor is a good thing. And gosh darn it, McCartney needed a good editor for this record. I mean, this could have been an A if only. If
If
only.
only.
If only. Um, I'm very happy that we are going to be talking about an A record in our next segment that we do for the other albums for March of '76. But man, at the speed of sound, that's not it. It's not it at all. I'm giving it a B, and even that's grudgingly.
Okay. Okay. No, it's
And it, and it,
fine.
and it- and it's McCartney. It's just so sad.
That's your
Paul.
opinion. I mean,
It's exactly.
it's
Everyone's
fine.
got an opinion.
It's fine. For me, I like it better than you, but I have a higher opinion. For this album, I mean, let's put this in, I guess you'd say in context. McCartney with Wings wanted the band to have their own identity.
Yeah.
He didn't want Paul McCartney fronting a group of studio musicians or just backup players.
Yeah.
So for this album, he wanted the band members to sing lead on one or two tracks on the album to
Sure.
make it more even, equal level, whatever
Yep.
you want to call it. Does it always work? No.
Well,
Uh,
Denny Lane has a fine voice. It's never going to be as smooth as McCartney's,
yeah.
but um,
I mean, I like the album overall. I mean, Let Him In, nice steady bass that's on that. Nice melody, it's fine. That sort of marching time rhythm that comes in,
uh-huh.
and use of trumpet. I mean, it's all right. The note you never wrote, it's okay.
Hmm.
When I'm noticing simmering synths on it, panning electric piano, solo strings. He does use strings on this album.
Hmm.
Nice acoustic guitar and great guitar tone on the solo. She's My Baby. Okay, it's all right. Um, Beware My Love. Nice acoustic guitar on that. Uh, why no Junko? It's like, what the hell's that all about? Uh,
That's why that's why I
you know what I
use that
mean?
as an object lesson for the entire record.
Exactly. What do I have here for Wino Jungle? Panic simmering synths. Fuzz guitar on the solo is what I'm hearing, right?
Yep.
Uh, Silly love songs. That's a classic. You like it or hate it, it's a classic. Um, Cook of the House. Oh God, burn the dinner. I don't have, it's not for me. I mean, Linda McCartney did not have a good voice. Backup, okay.
Yep.
But lead, no. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Linda McCartney. But yeah, I understand where you're going from. But you gotta
Hmm.
understand too, at this point in time, between Band on the Run and up until London Town, McCartney could do no wrong. I mean, everything he touched turned to platinum.
Oh, sure.
He was on he had the Midas touch in some people's eyes. And
Hmm.
he wanted to experiment and do different things. And I will grant you to mixed results. I will grant you
Hmm.
that. And the album ends off with Woman Beautiful. Nice strings and piano on that track. But could it have been stronger? Yeah, it could have been a lot stronger than what it
Hmm.
was. You know,
Yeah, I mean there's no denying the quality that's there, but again, I just wish that he had had a George Martin or some other kind of editor who could have helped him, not give in to every wild impulse and
yeah.
just try to let things be as they are. Let it be. Haha. And yeah, sure, let Denny Lane sing a few songs if he wrote them. Let Linda McCartney sing a few songs. Okay, fine. But um, it's just Paul.
Well, like I told you in our previous video, you had artists that would literally turn to the manager or the producer and say, I want a camel in here with a diaper smoking a cigarette. If I don't get that, no more product. I can't create unless I have that in the studio. I want to see this.
My
And
vision suffers.
yes, yes, my muse.
My muse.
Okay. What do they do? Producer says, get him a camel. Whatever diaper you got, slap it on the ass and bring it in. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just don't make a mess. As what and whatever they needed to get their albums out and product to the company, they got it. And maybe this album suffers from slightly that kind of feel. I don't know. Like but there is something aside from Silly Love Songs and Let Him In and Warm and Beautiful. There is some. I will grant you there is something amiss here. I will
Hmm.
grant you that. If anyone out there watching can tell us what it is, let us know in the comments. Your opinion on this album.
Yeah. I
But
mean, this was the album that came after Band on the Run, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the '76 Band on the Run was '73, and Band on the Run was just the three of them. Denny Lane and the McCartneys doing all the instrumentation.
Hmm.
So you want to talk about drama with an album being robbed at gunpoint.
Well, sure. I mean,
You know,
I guess the point I was making in bringing up Band on the Run is that it
yeah,
wasn't too long before that they produced something that is pretty much heralded as McCartney's
Zenith.
best zenith as a solo artist.
Yeah.
And of course all the singles that came in around that time. Yeah, Paul was pretty darn unstoppable, but it's kind of like that way with the Beatles too. I mean, you have to deal with the Maxwell Silver Hammers for, every so often to make it through the I Wills that were on the White Album. That's just the way Paul ran. So,
Granted, granted. And I mean, there are people that say this album is just a masterpiece. You know, I mean, and again,
yeah.
that's a good thing though when you have an artist that has a large discography. There are certain points in time that you can cherry pick and say, I like this. I'm not so keen on this. I
Hmm.
want this. I don't. It is what it is, right? It's.
Yeah.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. A very quick and to the point uh, album anniversary episode. Albums looking at subbing albums that are subbing their 60th and 50th anniversary, respectively. Uh, we are going to be coming back with part two, looking at albums that are celebrating their 50th anniversaries. We've got some doozies to talk about in part two. And part three, we're going to be looking at albums celebrating their 40th anniversaries. So we're going to get that to you as soon as we possibly can. That's coming up, so please stay tuned for that. And yeah, please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. Ken wasn't with us today due to computer issues. Sagosh hasn't won't be with us for a while due to other issues. We miss you both. We'll see you soon, and we'll see you all again on the Music Den. All right. Have a good day. Bye for now.